Welcome to round 18 of GP4 OC 2019 season. We are here at the Autodromo Hermanos Rodriguez in Mexico City, Lando Norris's favourite place. The 5th Mexican Grand Prix on the OC calendar, the highest altitude on the calendar at 2,238 kilometers. Circuit located in the public part of the Magdalena Mixhuca Sports City in Mexico City. The track named after the Mexican racing drivers Ricardo and Pedro Rodriguez, of course. And of course, the track originally changed from when F1 raced on it back in the old days, in the 80s. 71 laps, of course, a circuit length of 4.304 kilometers, 17 corners. Lap record set, in fact, by Joel Hutter. Remember that name. In 2018, a 116.375. So, of course, after the last round in Japan, where we have had a very, very dramatic ending, you couldn't really get much more dramatic than what we did, really, with, of course, Miguel Scal being hit by Armor Car on the last lap of the race, allowing Armor Car to take the victory. Now, the tyres we'll be using for this race will be the hard tyres, and we're now going to take a look at the practice results from Mexico. And it was Franco Gamba, the two Francos 1 and 2, ahead of Mackenzie in 3rd, qualifying a good performance by him for Renault. Unfortunately, it wasn't qualifying, so he's not able to be there. Now, Turin, of course, testing there for Racing Point in 9th position. But here is the grid for the Mexican Grand Prix, and on the front row, it is the two Mercedes. Where have we seen that before? Armor Car, 1st position, Franco Lopez 2nd. On row 2, Laura Chunk 7/10 behind Car in 1st, with Paulino Tomaselli, a fantastic qualifying performance by him in the McLaren alongside him. 5th and 6th on the grid is Miguel Scal for Red Bull and Joseph Willers for Ferrari. On row 4 of the grid, we have Franco Gamba for Red Bull and Kirosova de Rosa, one of the unluckiest drivers of the season, in 9th. George Roque, a better qualifying performance by him in 9th, ahead of David Kupok in 10th for Toro Rosso. On row 6 of the grid, we have Rola Moichin for Racing Point and Gabriel Gomez 12th for Alfa Romeo. On row 7, Lean Capana, a standout qualifying performance by him as well in 13th position, with Evan Byrne alongside him in 14th. 15th and 16th on the grid respectively are Jay McKenzie and Matteo Catalan for Renault and Toro Rosso. Row 9, we have Chris Chatfield, seems to be his favourite position, around about 17th, with Felix Sontag alongside him in 18th. Row 10, we have Andrea Federi, 19th for Alfa Romeo, and Jared Fosbury, 20th for Haas. And then, of course, on the final row of the grid, we have the two Manners of Rosetta Martinez and Maxime Titkoff. And news for this week, the GP4 news, is that Jamie Griffiths will be promoted from GP2 to drive for Williams. Very well deserved, and he'll be absolutely delighted with that one. He's been trying for a long while now, and finally he's going to have that opportunity in the top tier for next season. So congratulations to him. Race-wise, here in Mexico, it will be a dry race, no surprise, 0% chance of rain. So let's get this show on the road. So we're on the grid, of course. Armor Car on pole position with Franco Lopez alongside him. It's a long run down to the first corner. Who's going to get the jump into turn 1 as we are underway? And it looked like Lopez made a better launch originally, actually, from Car as they're going side by side. But it looks like Chung's coming through actually second and might even try and take the lead into turn 1. And look at that. Lopez is being left in the dust. He had originally made a better start than Car, but Chung is going to take the lead, and she does into the first corner, and she leads the Grand Prix. And oh, Franco Gamba is off, and I think he is out. And who is involved with him? It looks like it was, I think there was a Racing Point, I think that doesn't have a wing, but Franco Gamba is now out of the race, and it was a Racing Point. It was George Roque in the Racing Point, and let's see what happens. So Roku himself had made a decent start, moved up to 7th position, actually up into 6th even, and then just clipped the end of Franco Gamba's car. Actually, he went into his teammate Gal there, actually, Gamba, so that was actually quite close. But fortunately, no harm done for Gal. But for Gamba, he is out, and of course, with his seat on the line for next season, this is not good news for him. We're looking on board with Gabriel Gomez in 9th position, and he actually made contact with the back of the McLaren of Tomaselli, and he went into another car in front of him, I think. So Gomez and Tomaselli both involved. Meanwhile, we're looking on board with Lean Capano. We're going to have a look at his start. So he was down in 13th, got an okay launch. You can see actually Roland Moichin in front of him got a terrible launch, just dropping down like a stone. And so we're looking on board with the American Capano, heading behind David Kupok in the Toro Rosso. Now going along his inside, going past him, now going past the McLaren of De Rosa. Goes up into 11th, so already by the first corner, now 10th, now 9th, and now even up to 8th possibly. Well, he will be up, and he goes almost through the Racing Point there, but Capano then goes around Roque. So Capano from 13th on the grid up to 6th. What an amazing start for the American. And so, meanwhile, up front, Chung already got a little bit of a gap to Carr, and Carr himself's got a gap to Gal, so social distancing in place here, it seems. And we're looking on board with David Kupok in ninth, under pressure from his teammate Matteo Catalan, into the first corner. Catalan on the inside, and there's contact! And they're both off, but they've actually managed to get away without damage somehow. But the only damage they'll have will be to their dignity. And now Kupok gets overtaken by the Renault there, I think of Mackenzie, up into ninth. But Catalan was the one who really lost out on that. He was the one trying to make the move on David Kupok, and unfortunately he's gone from trying to get ninth to going down to 18th. So, yeah, doubling the amount of places he wanted to be in. But this is the replay, of course. Catalan on the inside of Kupok. And you can see that was just inevitable to happen, really. And, yeah, that is all you can really say about that. And we've seen a number of collisions at the first corner over the years, and they're not going to stop there when you try and make moves like that. So, as we look at Catalan, of course, rejoining, he's now down to 80, so he's going to have a lot to recover. Meanwhile, Carr, about 1 second behind Chung. She's just very slowly eking out her advantage up front. Campanas have made a great start, up 7 places. Mackenzie actually up 6 places as well. Sontag up 7, so a number of movers, but meanwhile Sontag might actually lose a place here. Burners on the inside, and he makes it up into 11th. Sontag tries to have a little go back, but to no avail. David Kupok coming around the corner seems to be getting a little bit out of shape, seems to be really struggling at the moment. He's started 10th, and that's where he is, but actually Byrne is going past him as well, actually, and Byrne is through up into 10th, just like that. So Byrne up 2 places in the space of a few corners there, so now up into 10th position, but Kupok definitely seems to be struggling so far in this race. So as we look at Joseph Willis at the moment in 4th, there's Lopez in 5th, and there's a gaggle of cars now forming up behind Campana, De Rosa and Roland Moichin. This is the battle for 6th, as now we look as they come into the stadium section, of course, what used to be a baseball stadium, but now of course is part of the circuit where the fans get to see the cars going straight through it. And Kupok, meanwhile, 11th, under pressure from Sontag, who's got a much better run coming out of the S's there, and Sontag just blasts by. Kupok just doesn't seem to have a grip of the car at all. Just really struggling, and just loses yet another place. And he's already out the points, he's now down to 12th, but just doesn't seem to be able to have any speed or get that car together. It's just not working out for him at the moment. So he's now down another position, and he'll have the Haas behind him. Looking at Miklas Gal at the moment, about nearly 4 seconds off Carr in second at this moment in time, and doesn't look like he's going to pose any threat. Willow's behind Gal about up to 3 seconds. Meanwhile, this is a battle for 90th position. This is the battle at the back. This is Tomaselli on the inside of Roke, coming in towards turn 1, and I think, yep, he's through past Roke. He's up into P19, so good move there from the Italian. Unfortunately, it's down at the back of the field. It's not for 9th, it's for 19th. Meanwhile, Laura Chung sets the fastest lap of the race. I think that was a 1:19, I think it was. And the advantage to Carr is now nearly 2 seconds. Gao about 4 seconds off of Carr in second. Willow's about 3 seconds behind as well. Meanwhile, Jay Mackenzie battling with Byrne. They're actually all closing up to this, to right behind Lean Campana now, because he's holding these guys up at this moment in time. So we're going to have about 5 cars that are now behind Lean Campana here. So I wonder how long that is going to last. So as we look at the cars coming on the front straight, but of course now the 2 Renaults in it, and actually Sontag is not too far away either, so he could get involved in this battle. We're looking on board with Evan Byrne in 10th at the moment, trying to close up on his teammate Mackenzie, coming into turn 1, and obviously no move made there. Kupok dropping down again, still in 12th, but dropping away from these guys. There's Tomaselli in 19th, of course Roke behind him in 20th, so Carr at the moment doesn't seem to have any answer for Chung, as De Rosa, goes for the move on Campana, and he bumps Campana out the way, and Campana loses position to Moichin as well, and possibly Mackenzie as well, and Mackenzie can go around the outside, and yes, Mackenzie does go around the outside, so Campana, who was running as 6th, now goes all the way down to 10th, and it was a big bump there from De Rosa that knocked Campana out of the way. And I'll show you for Campana, he had such a good start, and then there was Mackenzie, of course, then going around the outside after Moichin had passed him as well. And there we go. So we're now looking on board with Evan Byrne, who's right behind Lean Campana, coming on to the front straight, heading towards the first corner. Byrne, whose fuel is quite light, and of course we're using the hard tyres, which is going to be very interesting to see if these tyres do wear out at all. But Byrne is on the inside of Campana into turn 1, and he's through. He's up into 9th position, so good move there by the Irishman. Now Felix Sontag on the back of Lean Campana as well. This is the battle for 10th, so Campana might be out of the points now, considering the fact a few laps ago he was in 6th, so unfortunately it's not working out for him, as now Sontag is on the inside of the Williams heading up towards turn 1. And he's just about sticking his nose there. Sontag, is he going to make the move? And yep, he does. And now Sontag is up into 10th. So Campana now down to 11th and out of the points. Meanwhile, Kupok still holding up Chatfield behind him. But I think there was a car coming in the pits. I think it was Jared Fosbury that was coming in. Laura Chung actually is coming into the pits this lap as well. So a number of cars coming in for some very early stops at this moment in time. So Chung heading towards the pits. And in she comes. And so far she's had a good start. So there's a lot of laps in this race, so I wonder if they will decide to go with the 2 or 3. 3, again, I don't think it's the best average. I think it's either a 1 or a 2 is the way to go around here, unless you have super pace. And Chung did have the pace, but we'll see. So 27. I mean, yeah, she might be a 3, might be a 2. I don't know, but Chung makes a stop. Was 7.2. Was an average pit stop, I'd say. So where will she come out in the order is the question. So she's already down to 4th. Lopez is way behind actually. So amazing how far Lopez has actually dropped behind. So he's behind Lopez is Chung, but she'll catch up to Lopez pretty quickly, I would imagine. Meanwhile, Gal's going to be pitting, if not this lap, the next lap. Meanwhile, we're looking at David Kupok in 12th, still just really struggling for grip out there. He's going for possibly looks like maybe the 1 stop, but he's just got no pace in that car whatsoever. And of course Chatfield has been unable to actually get past him, and I was right, it was Jared Fosbury that was coming into the pits. So he will be coming into the pits now, and he will be trying to get, I suppose, an undercut on these guys in front, or mainly on Kupok, who of course is holding up everybody at this moment in time. Meanwhile, De Rossa and Moyton are set to have a battle now, it looks like. But as Fosbury now comes out of the pits and comes out in last position. So looking at Kupok again, once again holding up Chatfield. Chatfield who's been stuck behind him so far ever since they got Kupok got overtaken a number of times, not able to get past. And so as we look at now Omakar coming in for his first pit stop of the race, and the big question is of course, will he come, or where will he come out with regards to Laura Chung? Will be interesting to see, of course. Chung was the first one to come in, and Chung wasn't really in any traffic. Well, actually, I suppose if Chung has caught up to Lopez, then yes, she will be in traffic. So Carl will be hoping that Lopez does him a favour. Meanwhile, actually, Gal is in the pits as well. And so Carl comes out with a slightly quicker stop. Chung is only slightly, it was 7.2 for Chung, and for Carl, it was 7. So Chung is actually just coming around the final corner now. And she's actually not really caught up with Lopez now. And Carl's just coming out the exit of the pits. This could actually be pretty close here. And Carl comes out. And will he come out ahead of Chung? Chung is right there. And Carl is going to do the overcut on Chung. So Carl will take the lead of this race once the guys in front of him go in. Although Lopez is not pitting for a while yet. Gal does come out actually crucially ahead of De Rossa and Moichi. We're getting quite close heading towards the first corner there. But that is very, very interesting to see. So of course they're not catching up to Lopez. So I guess they're not really catching up. I mean, the tyres are not really, I guess, wearing out that much. I mean, they'll be fresher, but as I said, the tyres are not wearing out, and of course that makes a big difference. So Roda Moichin is now in the pits. He'll try and undercut De Rossa in front of him. So as we look at Tomaselli battling with Maxime Titkov, this is for P17 at the back of the field. Of course, Tomaselli and Roke, who have pitted already because of their troubles on the first lap, as they come underneath or through the baseball stadium. Now onto the front straight, and Tomaselli doesn't quite look like he had the run off the corner there to challenge. But meanwhile, Joseph Willers at the moment, who is out front, he's still got about 15 laps, so he will be going to about nearish lap 30, probably about lap 27, 28. So I think he might actually probably be doing the 2-stop. And actually, come to think of it, depending on how good Willers' pace is, and with Lopez, who is so far behind him, I think Willers actually might be in contention here, because because he'll be pitting for the first time. He'll probably come up behind Chung and Chung, Carr and Gao, but crucially he'll have to pit only once more, where there's a chance that both Gao and Lopez, not Gao and Lopez, Gal and Chung actually could pit again. So that could be very, very interesting to see. Meanwhile, we're looking at George Roke passing. This was Tomaselli into the first corner in a very almost picture book esque replay there. Yeah, that was very unusual. It's like watching a flip book, that was. But anyway, Byrne is in the pits and will come out, and that pit stop is, I think, 5.5, so that's pretty quick. So, as we look at Byrne coming out, after his stopping, he'll come out, it looks like, in P15. Actually, would he come ahead of Moji? Moji's just come across the line, and he might actually do that, so he does come ahead of Moji, but Moji will still actually try and overtake him into the first corner here, because he's got the run. Moji alongside Byrne, and he crucially does get ahead. So it looks like actually the overcut here at Mexico is very, very strong. Meanwhile, Tomaselli attempting to go back past Roque into the first corner, and he's not able to do so. He backs off. But Lopez, as I said, is still going along, and it doesn't look like, I mean, compared to Willows, he's got no pace, it looks like. Carr is actually definitely closing up to the back of him, but Willows is at the moment is in a league of his own out front. Meanwhile, Roque is trying to get past Titkoff on the inside, and he's up to P17 on lap 17. The gap, says Lopez, it was down to actually about 13 seconds actually, so the gap had come down, but crucially, of course, for Willows now out front is that for Willows up front, Lopez is now going to be in a battle with Carr and with Chung behind, and I wonder if Gal maybe even could get himself into the thick of things if he's close enough. I don't actually know what the gap is. Gal, he's a little bit behind, but he could still catch up if they hold each other up enough. Meanwhile, this is for Dairy in a Toro Rosso sandwich with Kupok in front and Catalan behind. He's actually pitting this lap as he's now going to go past David Kupok, heading up towards the first corner. Got a much better run. Got the speed, the straight line speed on that Alpha is very good, and he's now passing the Toro Rosso on the inside there. But Kupok, as I said, has just had a very tough race. Just had no pace in that car whatsoever, and it's just been overtaken, I should say, left, right, and centres. Catalan now attempting to pass the German, but failing there. Meanwhile, we're looking once again at Willows out front in a league of his own at this moment in time. And so Lopez at the moment is second. I don't know what the gap is, because it was down to 13 seconds. As meanwhile, Tomaselli still hasn't actually got past Titkoff. So Roque has, but Tomaselli still hasn't. So at the moment, he's struggling to make any progress. And now here we go. Carr is now finally on the back of Lopez. The gap actually up to 14 seconds now. Carr now on the inside of Lopez, heading towards the first corner. And Carr's going to overtake Lopez. Oh, very close. They almost go into each other there. That was all close, and so was that. Chung trying to take advantage there and getting past Carr. But wow, that was very sketchy, and that could have ended in disaster. I mean, Lopez, who's retired actually from the last 2 races, and means that he was far clear in the championship, but the gap has come down because of it. And so as Lopez, we can see just the way that he went wide there, and Carr trying to make a move on the inside. You really, really thought that might end in disaster, but thank the Lord that it didn't. So meanwhile, we're looking now at the manner of Catalan passing his teammate Kupok into the first corner there, and he makes a good move on him. But so Kupok, I mean, I've said it several times, but he's just got no pace whatsoever in that car. Meanwhile, Lean Campana defending from Chris Chatfield behind there, trying to ensure that he doesn't get overtaken. And so, let's see if he is able to keep that up. Chatfield right behind the Williams there. As we're looking now at Fosbury battling with Federi there. Meanwhile, Martinez, who's still in this race actually, trying to make a move there. But as we look now at the Mercedes, the 2 Mercedes, once again, this is Carr behind Lopez. It's going to be a reversal. Deja vu as Carr's going to try it, but Lopez is not giving this up into the first corner, and Carr's going to go for it. No way! And would you believe it? Carr's tried it again, and it has come. Well, it has not come off. The wheel has come off. The wheels are coming off for Lopez. You know, put all the wheel puns you want. But Franco Lopez, for a 3rd race in a row, having not retired at all this season, is out of the race, and that is super news for Chung, Gal, and to a lesser extent Willows. And would you believe what has just happened there? But, well, I say to a lesser extent Willows, but this is right in it. I should, to a lesser extent, Chung, I should have said. But anyway, this was the replay. So they tried again. This time Lopez actually defended properly, and Carr tried to turn. It was just inevitable. It was going to happen, wasn't it? It was just inevitable. And as I said, Lopez, who a few races ago hadn't retired at all and looked to be storming clear at the front of the standings, has got nothing, no points for a 3rd race in a row. Before this, he'd actually finished every single race in the points, with his lowest finish actually being 8th in France. But before that, he'd scored every race in the points, and now 3 races in a row, he's getting nothing. Amazing what the OC can do. Meanwhile, we're looking at Chung, who again is right behind Kapana. This now is the battle for 7th position. Now the positions have been gained. Of course, Carr did damage his front wing, so he has to go to the pits. That's actually good news actually for Chung, and also for Gao, but also for Willows as well actually, because Carr was in the thick of it for the win. So yeah, I mean, as we're looking now at the Renault of, I think this is Mackenzie passing De Rossa into the first corner there, as Carr now comes out and he's down to 11th. He's now out of the points. Is Armar Carr comes up behind Roland Moyton actually in the racing points. So yeah, now that changes things quite a bit actually. So the moment Chung and Gall have made a stop. Mackenzie and De Rossa and Willows in the top 5 haven't. Campana, Chatfield, Catalan, Kupok have not made a stop. Moyton has. So a lot of these guys are going long distance, it seems, because the overcut is quite good here, and the tyres don't seem to wear really. Carr now 11th, of course, with 2 stops, as Gomez is going past Titkoff into the first corner here, which he does. And he now moves up another position, as now Willows is coming up to this traffic here. This will not, this won't do Willows any favours as he goes past the Haas there and moves through. The gap to Chung, I think, was that about 18 seconds. The gap actually was, well, I suppose it does help when I suppose the two Mercedes were battling each other there, so it didn't exactly help. But still, the gap is up to 18 seconds, and to Gao it's about 5 seconds, so about 23, so almost a pit stop ahead of Gao. If he could just extend that gap a bit more, Willows, he actually could come out ahead of Gao, and he could actually have possibly even a guaranteed second place here, but as I said, there's still a long way to go. Meanwhile, Catalan now on the back of the Williams in front of him, and of course Carr's going to be trying to get through this pack of cars. Sonntag, who's not pitting for a while yet, as we're looking now at Tomaselli, is now, of course, Willows crucially is coming up to all this lap traffic. They're all in a big battle here, so Willows has got to be very, very careful here and needs to think smart. The gap is down to 15 seconds now. No surprise really, as Willows is being held up in all of this traffic as he comes around the final corner onto the front straight. He's got to figure out a way to get through this traffic without causing himself, or I suppose the lap cars causing him, any problems, as Catalan was attempting to pass Campana there. A little bit of contact, but no harm done. And so, as they come through the corner there, so we're looking at Kupok. There's Carr now. There's a massive gaggle in the lower reaches of the top 10 now. Willows right behind the McLaren now. Actually, the Alpha passed the McLaren there. That was Federi past Tomaselli down the straight. As now Federi's attempting to pass Titkoff coming into the next corner. And Willows is going to go down the inside. Oh, he goes past the McLaren. Almost goes into Federi there. That was sketchy as anything. And you really fear sometimes when they go for that. And how those two didn't make contact, I have no idea. Look how close that was in the replay. Unbelievably close. And yeah, so now Catalan actually comes in the pits. So he pits for, I think, the first time actually. And now Byrne is actually right behind Carr. So Carr could even get overtaken by the Irishman here as they go onto the front straight. But I think Carr's got the slipstream off the car in front, so he's going to try and make a move. Carr, and he's just about alongside the racing point as they head towards the first corner. And is he through? Carr, I think so. Yes, he passes Moyton for 9th place. Although he doesn't get a good run out the corner there, so Moyton might even try and get it back here, so hold on. As now we're looking, Moyton gets a good run off the corner. Can try and go around the outside as he of Carr. That's not really going to work, so Carr does have the position now. So again, the gap out front, Willows to Chung, coming down to about 12 seconds now, but of course Willows will still be ahead when he pits. I mean, I think Chung and Gao will be, if they put, I'm pretty sure, I think they both might be on 3 stops. I know Gao is I think on a 3. I don't know about Chung though. We're looking at Jared Fosbury coming in towards the baseball stadium, coming through the baseball stadium. I mean, I wish the layout of inside the baseball stadium was a little bit better, but you can't win them all. So Carr now in 8th behind the Toro Rosso there of Kupok, trying to go around the outside, now the inside. Not going to work there, so you're going to have to think and try again. So as you look at Moyton right behind Carr coming through the first sector of that, now coming through the S is the fastest part of the circle, apart from the straight of course, but you really got to try and keep your foot to the pedal as much as you can to get as much speed through, of course, without cutting the corner. Oh, and Catalan makes contact with Campana, who once again gets bumped wide, and yep, now down another position. Federi takes advantage of that. So unfortunately for Campana, he's been kind of booted off track a number of times. He's really been made mincemeat of by the other competitors today. Meanwhile, Carr now right behind the struggling Kupok, heading up towards the front straight. I don't know if he's quite close to being the slipstream. Meanwhile, Jay McKenzie's in the pits. Actually, Chatfield actually now in the Haas is now up into the top 5. So Chatfield so far having a quiet race, but still doing a good job. And Carr not quite close enough to Kupok, but he's close now, but not quite close enough to make a move on the straight. Got to make a move on the back straight though, as they come through the corners, and Carr definitely is in the slipstream, so this is his chance to make the move here. Will he make a move to the inside? He's in the slipstream of Kupok. He's going to try and go around the outside. Oh, never mind. He'll just bump him off. That will sort it out. And Carr is through, and Kupok loses position and nearly goes into Mojin there in the racing point. But yeah, so I mean, Carr got it done. A bit aggressive, but he's probably quite frustrated, really, at the way the race has gone. Again, Willows, the gap to Chung, actually up to now 14 seconds, so it's kind of going up and down, although I think Willows may be in a bit of traffic, which probably helps, but it's kind of going up and down, up and down. As now Videri tries to make a move on the inside of Catalan, and that didn't come off that time. So he's going to have to wait until the front straight to make a move, if he can get close enough. He lost a lot of time there as he went on that curb, so he's going to have to try and think about another move. Tomaselli's just come out the pits as well in the McLaren. So meanwhile, Willows still out front and still doing a good job, it seems. And it doesn't look like Willows actually does have any traffic, so I think he has extended that gap, although actually, come to think of it, Chung might be in the traffic as well, actually, maybe. Meanwhile, Evan Byrne is behind Kupok. He's been overtaken more times today than, than he probably ever has before, really. But Byrne now makes it through on the inside. He's up to 9th. So Kupok down to 10th position. So Sontag in 11th, Roke at the moment in 12th. Gao, again, on his own, he's about 6 seconds behind, so he's not got the pace, really, to the guys in front. If Willis pits now, Willis would come up behind Gao, but it doesn't look like Gao has got the pace for the win today, it seems. They got to about 6 seconds. And Willows out front. Willows actually is pitting this lap, so it's a little bit earlier than he could have done. So I think Willows may be going. If he's pitting now, he's for sure going to be going for the 2-stop. And if he is, that might actually work out pretty well for Willows, I think. Meanwhile, De Rosa is in for his first stop of the race. Is it his first stop? Yeah, I'm pretty sure it is his first stop. I think. I'm trying to think off my memory, but my memory's not very good. But Lopez and Carr, the incident between those two concluded to be a racing incident, which I think is fair enough. I don't really think you could blame one driver more than the other, to be honest. So De Rosa comes out, and he will come out actually ahead of Jay McKenzie. So that's important, because those two have been in a battle all race. So that's important with De Rosa. So Will is going to come in, of course, now, and he will be pitting once more before the end. So he'll come out. I think he will come out behind Gao, because the gap was about 20 seconds, and that won't be enough for Willows to stay in front of him. So Willows comes into the pits, and yeah, in he comes. So let's see. Well, of course, he'll be able to distance the gap to go about 21 seconds. He'll probably come out in third, of course, because Chatfield is way off. And so 26, so yep, he'll definitely be doing the 2-stop Willows. And so far, I think Willows has actually done a pretty good race, really. So Chung and Gao will be coming into the pits, of course. I was realised, of course, actually, Willows are beating once more, but so will Chung. Yeah, I think I'm thinking a bit too much of it here, but it'll get to me, I suppose, towards the end. Meanwhile, the two Manners fighting at the back of the grid. This is the battle between Martinez and Titkoff. And Martinez is past Titkoff into turn 1, although Titkoff is trying to fight back. They've got the Red Bull there, trying to lap them. That is Gal, actually, so that's good news for Willows. He'll be able to catch up, as Gal's going to be a bit frustrated that he's being held up here. So he goes through past Titkoff now, try and go past Martinez in front of him. Not going to be able to do it there, so Willows only 9 seconds off, and Chung is not pitting actually for a while yet. But it's about 10 laps, so I mean, Chung could go to the end. It would be a long stint, but she could go to the end, but I'm not entirely sure she's going to go to the end here. So, and if she doesn't, then if she doesn't actually pit, well, she will pit again, but if she doesn't go to the end, then Willows actually has a good chance of winning this race, I think. Gao is pitting soon as well, but sooner than Willows, and I don't think he's going to go to the end, so I'm not sure if Chung is either. Well, I'm certain Gal isn't, but I'm not sure about Chung, so we're going to find out in a few laps' time whether that's the case or not. Meanwhile, Fosbury behind Lean Campana, and now on the inside, heading towards the first corner. The Fosbury era is trying to begin, and I think it will probably be the fantasy era by the time it begins at this rate. It's taking a long time to actually start. But as we look at Carr, who's now on the back of Jay McKenzie, coming through the baseball stadium. Now in they are. Samwojin in 8th, there's Byrne in 9th, Kupok in 10th. At Kupok still hanging around the points despite the fact his car's been an absolute dog so far this race. Chatfield at the moment actually doing a good job in 4th position, and I don't believe he's actually made a stop yet. So Chatfield doing a good job so far in this race, so it looks like he'll probably be doing a 2-stop as well. Meanwhile, Carr now on the inside of Jay McKenzie, heading up towards turn 1, and this should be a relatively easy move for our car. Passing the Renault, and yep, he's now through, and he's got De Rossa in front of him. He's not too far away actually. De Rossa himself is having a decent race. Kupok now does come in. He's struggled all race, and so finally does come in. The gap to Gao is about 10.5 seconds to Chung, so she's definitely extending it. So I'm just wondering if she's going to go to the end. I don't think she's going to go to the end. And if she doesn't go to the end, that's actually great news for Willows. But we are going to see. Meanwhile, Martinez holding up. Willows coming through the final corner there. He won't be too happy about that. He finally goes past. He'll probably give the man a certain finger. Not going to say which one. So Laura Chung at the moment leading this race. She'll be pitting again, but does she have to pit one more time after that is the big question. Although Martinez actually is trying to go back past Willows, and he does. So yeah, that's going to please Willows even more. And I'll be giving him a finger on each hand at this point. So as we look through the order at the moment, again, I just realised Thomas said he's still running, but he's in last. He's in 20th place at this moment in time. De Rossa now at the 4th, car 5th. So I think, yeah, that must be Chatfield who's actually pitted finally. So Moitin's now at the 7th, Byrne up to 8th, and Chatfield is in, and he'll be going for one more stop at the end. So looking like it's it looks like he'll get some points in the bag, Chatfield. Could have maybe tried to go to the end. Well, no, it would have been a tough ask if he tried to go to the end, but doing 30 laps again, and then at the end he'll be very quick. So Chatfield will come out, and it looks like in 11th place, so he's going to come out in clear air. No one around him, so that's good news. He can use that to his advantage as Laura Chung comes around. We're getting close to the halfway point of this race, and I'm honestly not sure who's going to win, but at the moment Willows is going to get very frustrated at the fact that he's stuck behind this manor here, because he's losing ground to Miklos Gao in front of him. He's now, it was 2 seconds, he's now up to 5 seconds. It's now finally Willows goes past Martinez, and will Martinez actually still try and make a move into the first corner? Willows will be fuming if he does, and Martinez might actually try it into the first corner here. So here we go, and Martinez is going to try and unlap himself past Willows yet again. And is he going to do it? And the answer is yes. So it's not helping Willows' cause, although no, maybe yes, no. Martinez does do it. But of course now Willows will catch straight back up, and now he'll lap him again, and surely this is the time where Willows will finally lap him and be clear of Martinez. And so he's now passed him on the straight, and that should be that. And as Martinez tries to unlap himself again, but look at the amount he's lost there. He's lost another couple of seconds there. Meanwhile, Carr, I think, has actually got past De Rossa for 4th place. So good recovery actually by Armour Car so far from that incident. Looking at the rest of the moment, Roke actually is back in the points at the moment in 10th, but of course I think he still has to pit once more before the end. Gal is pitting this lap as he laps the Williams. So I don't think he's going to go to the end. I think this would be a tough ask. Chatfield didn't, so I don't imagine Gal will do the same. So as Gal comes through in towards the final corner, he comes to the pits. So Willows again will be frustrated at the fact that he's not been able to keep up with Gal due to the traffic, or I say due to the traffic, due to the Philippine in a manner. So Gal comes in, and I'm certain he won't go to the end. So as he comes in, we'll change all 4 tyres, and the answer is no, he doesn't go to the end, as I suspected. Similar fuel to Chatfield, just a tiny bit less. So Gal will now come out of the pits, 7.5 seconds, not exactly a quick stop, as we look at Carr at the moment in 4th, having passed De Rossa, as Moitis is actually on the back of Mackenzie. I'm not sure if Mackenzie was going to the end or not. I don't think he was. Had a lot of fuel on, but I think he'll be pitting close to the end. Moitis will be pitting in a few laps' time as well, as they now come on to the front stretch. I'm not sure if Mojin's quite close enough to make a move in towards the first corner here. And no, I don't think he is. Meanwhile, Laura Chong actually now trying to get past some traffic here, trying to get past the manor of Matteo Catalan. So, as Gal, of course, is down to third. Willow's 19 seconds off, and it would have been a lot less had, of course, he not been held up in the traffic. But, of course, if Chung does a pit now, Willows would come out in front. I think it would be a battle as well, because I don't know if Chung going to that. I don't think she is, but I could be wrong. But we will find out. So, as there's Roke in 10th, the chap in 11th, and looking for Derry, who's being lapped. And Gabriel Gomez has got a problem. He's got an electrical problem. And Gomez, who had a pretty terrible race. And there was another electrical problem by... it was Amakar. Amakar has got an electrical problem just to compound his misery. Having just recovered up to 4th place, he gets a mechanical failure. And so he's going to have to pit again. I'm not sure if he'll go to the end or not. And now he's pitting now. I don't think so, but team might just add a bit more fuel onto his car, but we'll see. But now that will allow De Rossa to move back up into 4th position, and De Rossa might actually get another good result for once. He's been denied several times recently a better result than he's got, and so maybe this is the day that his luck will change. But Gomez instead is trying to get back to the pits. Car, of course, has. Gomez has been going around the track for quite a bit now, and he's still got the rest of the lap to get through, but he's holding up the traffic behind him at this moment in time. So, as now Fosbury and Cupok both go past. Cupok trying to get past Fosbury. So, as Gomez heading towards the baseball stadium, and he's going to now go to the pits. He's very close. Hopefully he doesn't pull off just before the pit entry. That would be quite cruel if that happens. So, Carr now pits again. Of course, he's now down to 10th. So, Carr down to 10th place. He's behind George Rokeswell, who I might add, of course, has been down in last for a lot of the race. But, again, it's just a bit of a punch in the stomach, really, for Amakar, you have to say. But Gomez did manage to make it back, so that's good news for him. So that's the good news. The bad news is he's going to have no chance of points now. Meanwhile, I saw a car was set to pit this lap. I think that was Evan Byrne is going to pit this lap, as Moichin all over the back of his teammate Mackenzie as they're heading towards the basal stadium, coming through it right now. Sontag at the moment in 8th. Sontag as well, I mean, a number of good performances in this race, a number of quite bad ones I might add, but a number of good ones. So as we look at Moichin coming on to the front straight, and he's not quite close enough to make a move on the back of Mackenzie, but he'll probably have to wait until until the next lap, I guess, to really make sure that if he can try and do it. But he could be closer to make it on the small straight afterwards. Byrne, of course, is in, and he does not go to the end. And so Chung is pitting now, so this is going to be crucial. I mean, Willows has got the gap down a little bit, actually. Was down to 16, went actually up to 17 then. But he did narrow the gap down a little bit, well, partly because, of course, Willows is stuck behind traffic again, as he dives down the inside of the Williams there, or attempts to, coming in towards the baseball stadium, and he's now finally through past him. But will Chung go to the end? That is the big question, and hopefully we're going to see how much fuel they put into a car. Galacors is not going to the end, as we all suspected, but he's going to have a very comfortable P3, so he's kind of having a very lonely race. But as I said, if Chung doesn't go to the end, then Willows, well, I'm not going to say he has his victory, but he's going to be the prime favourite for this victory. So Chung has obviously come out in 2nd place, and we'll find out hopefully soon. Well, we'll find out if Chung pits, when she pits, if she does pit. Rogue at the moment running in 8th position, kind of on his own at the moment. Make that 7th actually, because I think Moichin has just come in. And he's still got quite a while to go until he pitted. But of course, I think I'm pretty sure actually Rogue, if he's this far up, hasn't actually pitted. Hasn't actually pitted since lap 1 when he had that incident with Gamba. So that is that is quite interesting. There's quite some pace, and Chung 25 and contact, and Moichin is out of the race, and Byrne has got wing damage. And to answer your question, no, Chung is not going to the end, so that is advantage Willows. But this is what happens. So Moichin had just come out of the pits, and Byrne was right there in the battle, and you could just see that was going to happen from a mile off. So that is very, very unfortunate there, really. So again, another incident at turn 1, and hopefully that I don't think that will be given as a penalty to either driver. We've got another yellow flag out the first corner, unless that's the incident. I think that's the incident we just talked about. Yeah, Mojin's car getting pushed away, so ignore that. But no, I don't think there will be a penalty in that one. I think it'll be another racing incident. But of course, Willows is now ahead of Chung by 11 seconds, and Willows is going to be pitting earlier than Chung, but of course Chung will be hitting later. So yeah, I still think Willows is probably going to be the favourite here. Meanwhile, Roke at the moment in 7th position, only 4 seconds off Sontag, and I'm pretty sure Sontag has pitted a lot later than Roke has. So Roke, I think, is keeping up actually some good pace as Tomaselli goes into the back of the manor of Titkoff there, and that is the battle for P16. The battle towards the back of the grid. Meanwhile, side by side there actually is the Red Bull laps the manor there, but now Tomaselli is in a prime position to lap. Well, I say to lap. Well, normally in a normal race he would lap the manor, but the manor himself is actually trying to unlap himself. But Titkoff's trying to go on the inside of the Red Bull here. Omega and he is going to make the move stick. And I wonder if Tomaselli might try and make the same move, but no, he doesn't. Can't quite make it stick. But of course, Gao again, he's not really doesn't really do anything stupid, to be honest. But although actually, to be fair, I just realised something. Actually, De Ross is actually only a second and a half away, so Gao actually might not necessarily have this 3rd place secure yet, because De Rossa is not far off. So that could be interesting. So Tomaselli, I think, is trying to do him a favour, as Gal now does pass Titkoff, coming towards the S's there. And so finally he's free of him, but of course Titkoff will try and probably get the position back maybe. And contact there as Carr makes contact with the back of Roke there, but unable to make the move stick past him there. Carr, of course, is pitting once more before the end, but so is Roke, so they are in a battle for position there. So at the moment, I think Willows out front is extending. I think he's extending the gap to Chung actually, despite the fact Chung has just pitted. So it's up to 12 seconds. So Chung's already gaining. So I mean, this is advantage Willows. I think you have to say. Byrne, goes into the back of Cabano, gets hit for about 3rd time, but Byrne spins. And so he's lost a couple of positions, and I don't know if Cabana's rejoined, and yes he has. Cabana's actually still rejoined in front of those guys. So Cabana keeps 12th place, and Byrne loses 2 places at the expense of that collision there. But yeah, so again, it's unlucky there from Evan Byrne. But as we look at Joseph Willows coming through the S's, and he's extending the gap, and he's going to be pitting a lot sooner than Chung. So I think Willows actually is. It looks like it's going to win this race. Well, I'll rephrase that. It looks like a Ferrari as Campana gets hit again for about the 4th time. He is the OC's punching bag in this race. So the 4th time at that same corner, Campana has been hit. It's just not. It's never ending. It's relentless for him. There was the contact right there again. And you've got to feel sorry for Campana. He made such a great start as well. He was running 6th at the start of the race, and yeah, unfortunately they're bullying the American. And yeah, I like the Americans normally bullying everybody else. But anyway, as we look at this is Evan Byrne, who of course has had a pretty disastrous race really. It's kind of all fallen apart. Byrne now being lapped by Nicholas Scow, who goes through him there. But of course Scow needs to get away because of course De Rossa is lurking in the distance there to take advantage if there's any problems. Now, I mean, Mackenzie's actually only 5 seconds off as well, so we could see a battle still for the podium, maybe. Byrne now trying to get past the Williams, who's just been lapped. Of course, Byrne is going to try and pass the Williams, and then Byrne has got a car behind that's trying to lap him. It's all going off, really. The lap track, there's a yellow flag out somewhere. And no, it's Chris Chatfield who's out of the race. And Chris Chatfield, who is having a very good race, actually. I have to say, he was running in 7th, had one more stop, but was looking actually good to get some points on the board for Haas, and he's going to get nothing from today. So you've got to feel for him there, Chris Chatfield, but I suppose he doesn't need to worry. He's got a seat secure for next season, so he doesn't need to worry about that. But you've still got to feel for him nonetheless. He is out of this race, so that means a good gain for everyone else, as now Miklas Gal goes past the lap car. Byrne is going to pass Campana as well. So Campana now down to 15th place, and there's De Rossa now behind. Will want to lap these guys very quickly too, as they are. Of course, they all have to make a stop actually, these guys as well. Important Mackenzie does as well, and Mackenzie could come into this battle for P3 as well. But Gal, as I said, needs to just keep on his guard. 3rd place is not entirely secure yet, so he needs to just make sure he doesn't do anything stupid and just keep doing what he's doing, and hope the traffic affects them like they've been affecting him. As David Kupok is out, and David Kupok has a technical failure, and he was running in the points actually, but he's going to get nothing from this race either. And so you really got a feel for Kupok, but he'd been struggling all race really, and it's amazing that he was actually still in the points. But Kupok is out, and so nothing from him today. And so Jared Fosbury will take 10th position as they slow down to pass the stricken Kupok, the stricken German. So you can see carrying across the line, and there was the problem. And so Kupok out of this race, a mechanical failure, causing his retirement from the Mexican Grand Prix. And of course, yeah, that's all about. That's all you can say really about that. Kupok's a struggle all race, and now that struggle is finally going to end. So as we look at Joseph Willis, who's actually now pitting for his last stop of the race on lap 51, and so of course Chung will be going a lot further, but yeah, I mean Chung will be a lot quicker at the end. So it's going to be very, very interesting to see what happens really. But as we look at Laura Chung, who of course now temporarily will be leading this race, I thought she was going to be the favourite to win, but it looks like Willers is going to be the one, as long as Willers gets a good advantage after the stop, as we're looking of course at Gal in third position, with De Rosa not too far behind him, and actually Almar Carr now comes into his final stop of the race. And so we're looking at De Rosa in P4, there's Mackenzie behind in P5, Gal now lapping the Alpha of Andrea Federi at the moment, running in 11th place. De Rosa again having a solid race for McLaren, but can he finally actually finish? He's had several solid races and got no reward out of it, so maybe this will be the race where it changes. Meanwhile, Rosetta Martinez is trying to unlap himself past the Mercedes, which he does, so yeah, good job by him there. So as we look, there's the order. Tomaselli is now in the pits, of course De Rosa and Mackenzie only on a one stop, but we're pitting once more. Don't know if there's been actually anyone that's been purely on a one stop, as Byrne goes into the back of Federi there and forces him wide. De Rosa gets past Federi, and now he'll try and get past Evan Byrne in front of him. So as we look at Byrne, who's got the blue flag, Sebastian Vettel's favourite word on his screen, that he'll need to unlap himself. Mackenzie makes a little mistake there, it does a little lock up there. He's going to be pitting soon though, so we'll see if he can undercut De Rosa, although the undercut doesn't really work around here, it seems to be the overcut. So Willows gap to Chung about 16 seconds, Gal again about 34 seconds off, and De Rosa 5 seconds off. Mackenzie is gaining though, because De Rosa's getting held up in this traffic, as Gallard's actually going to be relieved from some of that traffic as now it goes to the pits. And the incident between Moitian and Byrne, as I suspected, a racing instance. There's not really much of a surprise there. So as Fosbury was the one who was in the pits for his last stop of the race, but Gal will now finally be relieved of traffic, and maybe he can actually get himself a gap to the cars behind to ensure that he does have P3 in the bag. He's definitely not had the pace of the top two, but of course Gal will be pitting once more, and will want to ensure that he has no more problems. So Willows, as we're seeing him coming through, heading towards the baseball stadium, coming through the S's there. So looking at the rest of the orders, it looks in 7th, but I think he has to pit Roke at the moment in 9th position. And I'm pretty sure he doesn't have to make another stop. I think he's made one. So Roke actually is going to be in contention for points, despite the incident with Gamba on the first lap, as Tomaselli now getting lapped by the Ferrari there, coming in towards the first corner, and so he does get lapped. And so as we look at the cars coming through there, coming onto the back straight, Nicolas Gal coming through the baseball stadium. And I was about to say he was only 3 seconds behind, but of course that's the gaps between each other. So yeah, that's not the case really. But as we look at Gal coming through, and he's going to be pitting this lap actually, as a matter of fact. But the gap actually going up between him and De Rosa now about 5.9 seconds. So that's what happens when you clear the traffic. Gal's much quicker than the guys behind him. So yeah, he'll be pitting this lap, and De Rosa is going to be pitting this lap. Mackenzie has already pitted. Byrne, I think, was that Byrne that was pitting? I don't know. No, it was. I think it was De Rosa, I should say. But Sondheim is pitting. So a number of cars for their final stops pitting, as Chung is trying to get her way through all this traffic coming through the baseball stadium, the worst possible time to get the traffic. So as Felix Sontag is now coming into the pits for his final stop of the race, a number of cars again coming in around these next laps. But of course, Byrne, I think, is coming in. Gal is coming in. Chung going past some lap traffic there. So it's all happening here in the latter stages of the Mexican Grand Prix. So at the moment, Roke running in 8th, and he's going to be going to the end. He's not going to be pitting again. Neither is, of course, Willows, and gap 14 seconds. So Chung, of course, will come out behind Joseph Willows. And so at this moment in time, this is good news for Willows because Chung will come up behind, but will Chung be able to close up the gap enough at the end? I'm not entirely sure that she's going to be able to do that, but you never know. Her pace might be unbelievable in the last stint of the race, but Gal, of course, coming in, and he's in for his last stop. Sontag comes out and is now in 9th position, actually, so Felix Sontag is set to get some points at this moment in time for Williams, unlike his teammate Campana, who originally looked set to be the guy who was going to get the points, but unfortunately he's going to get nothing from this race. So, as we look at Matteo Catalan on the inside of the manor there, he's at the moment in 7th, but he's got the McLaren behind him. De Rossa obviously is in the pits now. Gal has come out in 3rd, so yeah, they actually pitted on the same lap. Meanwhile, this is actually a car who's actually passing De Rossa. This is actually an important pass for position here. So, oh, there's so nearly contact, but Carr just about gets ahead of De Rossa after the stop. That's crucial for Carr, actually. So that is a legitimate battle for position. So they've actually lost out to Amar Carr, who's now back up to 4th position. So don't know if they'll be able to overtake Carr again on the circuit. But yeah, that's not necessarily good news for them, really. But we're looking at the moment at Joseph Willows in P2, and very soon Laura Chung will come into the pits for her final stop of the race, although he goes a little bit wide there, Willows, actually. Makes a little error there coming through the first corner, as Laura Chung actually now is coming into the pits. Speak of the devil, and she's coming in. Byrne is also in for her for his last stop, sorry. Chung, of course, will be in for her last stop now. Evan Byrne, of course, now dropping out of the points, actually, at this moment in time, it looks like, with his pit stop. So the question is if he'll be able to get it back towards the end. But Laura Chung, of course, coming in for her last stop of this race, and she'll come up behind Willows. The question is, can she close up on Willows towards the end? I don't know. I mean, she's got 12 laps to do it, so she could. It's a possibility. It's not impossible. It's a possibility. That's the best way of putting it, really. So Carr at the moment in 4th. I mean, could he? I mean, he could actually still even get Gal for 3rd here. Actually, I forgot, of course, that Carr's actually they were that close to Gal. So yeah, Carr could even still manage to snatch a podium out of this race, despite that incident with Lopez. So let's not count him out just yet. Meanwhile, Matteo Catalan is coming to the pits for his his final stop of the race. Chung is in 5.1, pretty quick stop there from the Ferrari crew. Willows will now take the lead of the Grand Prix. Can Chung close the gap? Well, she'll be able to close the gap, but will she be able to catch Willows? I don't know. I'm not entirely sure she'll have enough time, but we'll see, because the tyres can take a bit of a while to get use of. Sontag at the moment comes out in 8th place. Catalan comes out of the pits in 9th. So at the moment, Sontag looking good for some decent points. As we look at Laura Chung at the moment in 2nd position, as Omar Carr now this trying to lap. It looks like the Renault here, and oh, they make contact. They make contact, and that's good news actually for Nicolas Gau in front there. So and look at that, De Rossa's now right on the back of Carr, thanks to that mistake. So Byrne, who was being lapped by Carr, didn't really get out of the way, didn't really help himself, and so kind of got in the way there, Carr. So you will not be pleased about that, Omar Carr, because that is allowing Gal to get away there. So that's given him a good gap, and of course now Carr's got to deal with De Rossa on his back. So as we look through at the current P2, which is Laura Chung, for Dairy is now in for his final stop of the race. Still got people making their last stops late on here in Mexico. So as we look now, what's the gap? 7.9. I mean, yeah, the gap's only 7.9 actually. So I don't know. It's possible. It still could be possible. And actually, if Willis doesn't get through this traffic very quickly and gets held up as much as he has done, then that could help Chung. But he does get past Campana very easily there, so that's important for him. And Campana again, you still got to feel for the guy down way out of the points. Meanwhile, this is the battle for P8. This is between Catalan and Felix Sontag. This is for P8. Catalan is closing on Sontag. Is he close enough coming to the first corner? I think he's just getting in the slipstream now. Look at the speed. He's going to go for it into the first corner. And oh, there's contact. You could just see that happening a mile off. And Catalan spins, and Sontag is going to rejoin, still in front, but Catalan is going to be right behind the Williams here, now heading on to the second straight. So Catalan's going to have a second bite of the cherry, and so he's going to make a move on the inside. He's going to try and go for it, but Sontag puts his car in the middle of the track and prevents him from doing that, so that's not going to happen there. Again, car is still closing on the back of Gals. We could see a battle there. De Rossa has fallen off because I think he's stuck behind this traffic here. As we're looking at Mackenzie, who's still behind De Rossa at this moment in time. Bernie's trying to get past Jared Fosbury in front of him. So as we're looking at now, Catalan has made the move on Sontag for 8th place there. So Catalan does manage to get through cleanly, which is of course good news for him. And so as we look at Gal, who again, he's got Carr who's right behind him here. We've only got 4 laps left, so Carr could still get a podium out of this race, which I think he'd be very happy with. The gap with Chung is down to 4 seconds, so it's come down, but Chung needs more than that. And so we're looking at Jay McKenzie. No! Jay McKenzie again! Oh, Jay McKenzie. I said De Rossa was very unlucky, but McKenzie definitely takes the cake for the unluckiest driver of the season, really. De Rossa a very close second, but Mackenzie in yet again another good position, and he retires with a mechanical failure. What else can you say, really? Jay McUnlucky is what you should call him. I feel sorry for him. I really do. I do. Again, in a good position, could have possibly got a top 5 in this race, but at the very least had a top 6, and now he's going to get no points. And 4 laps ago, I think he may still just about be classified. I think it was a lap earlier. I don't think he'd have completed 90% of the race distance, so I think he'll still be classified. But yeah, that is still very unfortunate. But we are now on the last lap of this race, and we are looking at your race leader, Joseph Willows. So again, the gap coming down to 3 seconds, but it's not going to be enough. Chung would need a few more laps to get to Willows, but he kind of just went originally just went under the radar, unnoticed. Did Joseph Willows at the start of the race? We thought it'd be a battle between Chung and Carr for the win, but we forgot about Willows, and he just kept going about his business. And I suppose some things went slightly in his favour, but I mean he would have had a podium at least from this race. Third would have been absolutely guaranteed, maybe even second, but it would have been a close battle if Carr was still in this race. But it looked like it was going to be between Carr and Chung. Then after, of course, Carr messed up with his teammate. That allowed Chung through. Of course, that released Willows, and that helped him win. And with Franco Lopez out of the race for a 3rd race in a row, Joseph Willows is going to win the Mexican Grand Prix, and the title race is really back on now. And Willows wins here in Mexico. Great result, and Laura Chung comes across the line in 2nd position. She'll be a bit, I suppose, she'll be disappointed, I guess, that she hasn't won this race, but 2nd is still pretty good. I mean, they still all gain on Lopez, really, so I don't think she could be too disheartened with that. Mateo Catalan will get a good result for Toro Rosso. Will take 7th position. That's a good result for him. Lin Campana, oh dear, he'll want to forget this race in a heartbeat. He'll be 14th. And Felix Sontag, 8th position for Williams. That's some good points for them, so I think he'll be definitely very happy with that one. Meanwhile, we're looking at Rosetta Martinez. He's had to come across the line in 15th for Mana at the back of the field. Maxime Titkov's going to come across the line in last in 16th place. The man has just been been a bit of a nuisance to the Ferraris and generally everyone today, really. He's across the line. Miguel Scow will hold off Carr for P3, so Carr doesn't quite get the podium there, but still a good recovery nonetheless. Gomez will take 9th position, just ahead actually of Jared Fosbury, who will get the last point, just ahead of Byrne as well on 11th. De Rossa will take P5. He'll be pretty happy with that. And finally, De Rossa's luck actually has changed. He's had some good luck for once. Tomaselli in P13, the unlucky number. Roke as well, great recovery from the back of the field, having hit Gamma on the first lap. He'll take 6th. He'll definitely be happy with that recovery. But here are the full race results anyway. Joseph Williams winning ahead of Laura Chung. Ferrari 1-2 here in Mexico. Miguel Scow 3rd. Amar Carr 4th. Carrozza De Rossa 5th. And George at the last car on the lead lap in 6th. With Mateo Catalan, Felix Sontag, Gabriel Gomez and Jared Fosbury completing the rest of the points. Lap down, Evan Byrne in 11th. And Laura Chung actually gets the extra point for the fastest lap as well. Looking at the rest of the order, Andrea Federi in 12th. Palino Tomaselli 13th. Disappointing from when he started in 4th. Lin Campana, Rosetta Martinez and Maxime Titkov, and of course Jimmy Continue still classified despite of course retiring late on, with David Kufok, Chris Chatfield, Rella Moichin, Franco Lopez and Frank Gamba the cars that did not finish this race. So now the point standings, and it's getting a little bit more spicy now. It's less than 20 points the gap between Willows and Lopez at the front now, and only 20 points to Gal as well. The Laura Chung still has a slim chance of the title, but she needs some good results. She needs to keep up her form in the next few races. Other movements include Catalan moving above Byrne actually into 8th in the standings. Felix Sontag moving ahead on Maxime Titkoff. Jared Fosbury also moving up to 20th as well. Martez still last, of course, despite scoring some points in the last round, but at least it means every driver this season has got points on the board. Mackenzie only 18 points to 16th. I mean, he should have at least, well, at least double that, I think, with the lucky tad. Meanwhile, Ferrari moving ahead of Mercedes by 11 points in the constructors' standings. Red Bull still also have a slim chance of the constructors, but they need to keep up their good form as well. McLaren in 4th, Renault 5th, tied with Alfa Romeo. Toro Rosso just behind 7th. Racing Point, look at the gap, actually 4 points between, or 3 actually, between Renault and Racing Point, with Haas, Williams and Manor completing the rest of the order. And Felix Sonda given driver of the day. I think I probably would have given it to De Rossa myself, but still a good result for Sonda, to be pretty happy with that, to get some points. But that was the Mexican Grand Prix, and that was that. And we will next head across the border to the USA, to Texas, to Austin, for the US Grand Prix. Thanks for watching, everybody. We'll see you for the next round there. Don't forget to check out all our links in the description. Check out our Twitter, join our Discord, check out our Wikia, give the video a like. Thanks for watching, everybody, and we'll see you then. Goodbye.